This is Graham Bonnet, and you're listening to Talking About Rock.
Okay, today's guest is known for his powerful singing voice and soft melodies. He's performed and recorded with such bands as Rainbow, the Michael Schenker Group, and Alcatrazz. Here to talk with us about his upcoming album, Lost in Hollywood Again, let's welcome the legendary Graham Bonnet.
Oh, legendary. I am indeed. Yes, well, thank you very much for that. It's a nice introduction. Yeah, I've been around for a long time, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, well, you have a career spanning over like 5 decades. So tell us a little about the latest release here, Lost in Hollywood Again. This is out December 12th from Frontiers.
Yeah, well, we started, we did the show at the Whiskey, and it was kind of a little bit cramped on the stage and everything, but it went very well. I'm very pleased the way it turned out. The sound was great. The finished product was great, but we had a little bit of problem on stage. The sound, which is always happens. Sound on stage wasn't the greatest, but it was okay. And I think we all played pretty good. Nobody died, and nobody was wanting to kill anybody, so it wasn't too bad.
Definitely always a good
one mistake, but I won't talk about that.
All right, Chad. The new album is like a journey through your songs that you perform. So I wanted to kind of take a quick trip through your history a little bit here. Okay. So in '79, you were approached actually to join Sweet to replace Brian Connolly, but instead you joined Rainbow, replacing Ronnie James Dio as vocalist. Yeah. And you guys headlined the inaugural Monsters of Rock Festival at Donington Park. That's amazing. Yeah.
Well, that was something I'll never forget, because all my family were there to see the show, and they didn't expect to get an audience as big as it was. They were expecting like, I don't know, but less than 50,000, but there's 100,000 people there, and it was like amazing. We had quadraphonic sound, and it was incredible. My mom and dad were very impressed with me. They were proud of that little boy up there, hey! And I'll never forget it. It was the night actually when Cozy Powell left the band. He went on to other things, as you probably know. And we tried to get him to stay that night, that morning. Me and Don Airy sat up in we're in a Leicestershire Holiday Inn, I think it was. And we sat up talking to him across the table saying, Cozy, please change your mind, But he wanted to go. He was, I don't know, he was just bored with what he was doing. He'd been in Rainbow for quite a while, and he wanted to have a change. So, but that was a great day, and I'll never forget it. I remember saying to Don before we played, I said, God, Don, how many months have we been on the road? So, whatever it was. And it was a long time. And I said to him, do you really feel up to this great big show we're doing tonight, And he said, no, I'm fucking knackered. I said the same thing. Me too. I said, God, I can hardly talk, And I thought when we did the show, when we actually recorded it, I thought, that was terrible. I came back after the show going, was it okay, Don? He said, yeah, it wasn't too bad. And when I saw it like later, because I can't ever watch shows like immediately, months later, I watched it. It wasn't that bad. I was pretty pleased with what we did. And it's, as I said, it will never be forgotten in my, my past, because it was a turning point for me and for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And the Down to Earth LP became one of your most successful albums that spawned the 2 hit singles, Since You've Been Gone and All Night Long, which are still played all the time. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I think, well, actually, I could actually thank Bruce Payne, the manager of Rainbow, because when Russ Ballard sent the song to him, he played it to us, and everybody's going, no. We can't do that, It was very poppy, and Russ recorded it back in 1970. Oh God, I don't know, by 72 or something. So it's an old song, but other people have recorded it, and we heard a version by Clout, which is a girl band, and that kind of put oh no, we can't do this. I remember Cozy Powell just saying, no freaking way, we can't, this is not, it's not Rainbow. But anyway, the band got it together and sort of beefed it up a little bit, and it turned out great. I mean, I'm very proud of that song. It might be a little bit poppy, but it's a song that put Rainbow on the map. They were never played on the radio. I didn't know who Rainbow was when I joined Rainbow because I was living in England at the time. I had no idea.
Yeah,
But
and I think that's
what
what Richie had discussed with Ronnie. He wanted to get a little more poppy and get a little bit more airplay, and Ronnie didn't want to go that way. He didn't want to go that route. I think that's why there was the change,
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Ronnie wants to stick with what he does best, and so he didn't want to become a pop singer or whatever, So that's okay. But I mean, that's what I had been doing before I joined Rainbow. It was like pop and R&B, It wasn't that stuff. But, this gave me an opportunity to try something different. It was, for me, it was an opportunity to learn something new, to start singing, not in a different way, but singing different melodies to different kind of, tunes. I mean, it's all sort of semi-classical. When I went for the audition, I remember seeing all this stuff set up in this chateau they were staying in. And it was just like, oh, my God, Marshall amps and, they played stuff without me singing, and it was just like, oh my God, am I right for this? It was so grand. And but anyway, it was a song called "Eyes of the World." I remember later, and that became one of my favorite tracks off the album. But it was, I thought, no. I went back to London and I said to my manager, I don't think I'm right for this, and he said, Graham, it's an opportunity for it's an opportunity for you to do something different and to go somewhere else, with musically. And so I went back to rehearse with Rainbow, and eventually me and Roger Glover worked very hard at putting the songs together in the studio. And I'll never look back. It was a great move, I think.
Yeah, definitely have stood the test of time. And you also moved on. So in 81, you released the album The Lineup with some well-known rock musicians here, including Whitesnake guitarist Mick Moody, Cozy Powell on drums, and John Lord also here with you. What can you tell us about that project, the Lineup album?
Well, there's always I've told this story a million times over, but John Lord. I'll tell you about what happened with him. We were always set, about 9 o'clock in the morning, all behind our, sound baffles, all sitting in, doing their bit. I would put down a guide vocal, very, very softly, very nicely, and everybody else would be playing like crazy. And John hadn't made it. And we were waiting for John to turn up. And down the hallway in the studio, we heard this rattling. And we thought, what the hell? What's that? And in walks John with 2 grocery bags, puts them down on his baffle board, whatever you want to call it. And he puts all these bottles out. And it was whiskey, beer, vodka, maybe, I'm not quite sure what else. But he said, gentlemen, the bar is open. And this was like 9 in the morning. And of course, we all said, all right. So that was one incident, but what a treat it was to make that album with, my friends, basically. Cozy, we're very close, and of course, John and Mickey, because we're managed by the same people, me and Mickey. And it was fun all the time. There's no problems, no hang-ups, nothing. We're all ego, no ego. And John came in to play keyboards, and also Don Airy came in to play some keyboards too. So he was on a couple of tracks, and John did some other ones. But it was great fun, and I think some great songs on there. Actually.
Yeah, definitely. So, and then in 82, after leaving Rainbow, you joined the Michael Schenker group for the Assault Attack album. And I believe Cozy Powell approached you to join that band, correct?
He did. Yeah, I mean, yes. Cozy invited me to go and see the band play in LA. And I said, well, what time? I went along to the show. I watched the show. I thought, oh, that's bloody good. And I was just hanging about on the balcony in the venue, and Cozy tapped me on the shoulder. He said, "What do you think about the group? The band?" I said, "That was bloody great, man. It's really good." So the band's great. I'd never heard Michael play before, and I said he's an amazing guitar player. And he said, well, "What about the singer?" I said, "Amazing. Everything's really, really cool." And Cozy said, "You like the band then?" I said, "Well, yeah." He said, "Do you want to be in it?" So, well, but I said, you have a band already, you know.
Yeah, you have a singer, you have a band.
Gary's singing his heart out. I said, why? He said, well, Gary's about to leave. He is. And he said, yeah, well, here we go again. So I said, but what's he going to do? He said, I don't know. But he said, we want you to sing. So that was my introduction to the Michael Schenker band. But I didn't know what to do. I thought, oh, okay. So Gary left, and then I started working on songs for that album.
Yeah, definitely some great stuff there. Then in '83, you co-founded Alcatrazz with Gary Shea and Jimmy Waldo and a new Swedish guitarist, Yngwie Malmsteen. What can you tell us about that time?
Well, if it wasn't for Yngwie Malmsteen being there, there'd be no band. I'm telling you, because we looked around for, I don't know how long, months for a guitar player. And when he came along, it was like, who is this guy? He walks into we had an audition. So he walks into the audition, and he's wearing the clothes that Richie Blackmore would wear. The spandexy things with the white boots and stuff, tie up here, all that stuff. And it looked like he was going on stage. And we said, like, God, you look like Richie. He said, I'm a big fan of Richie. So anyway, before he came in, I said to him on the phone, before he came into the audition, I said to him on the phone, can you learn something that isn't Rainbow? And I gave him a track off of my album, a song called SOS that Russ Ballard wrote. And I said, can you learn that so we can play it, go through that with him? Because I wanted to hear what he played like without all the blah, 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 or that, or the widdly widdlies. Yeah. And he played the shit out of it. It was so good. I said, I've never heard it played like that before. That was amazing. And I said to him, should we do some Rainbow stuff now? Yeah, all right then. So he comes up and plays the Rainbow stuff like I've never heard it play before. He was so eager. He was so hungry. And he was like 19 years old. And he was the guy to take. But without him, I don't think the band would have been where it got to,
Yeah, definitely a very distinct sound. And the debut album, No Parole from Rock and Roll, was definitely probably the biggest album, and kind of broke him really after that. But also after he left, you guys had another amazing guitar player. Steve Vai joined and replaced Yngwie for Disturbing the Peace.
Mm. Yeah, well, that was, I'll never forget the first gig we did with Steve. Well, when I first met Steve, he said, well, I don't play like Yngwie, I play in a different way, which is okay. Anyway, he had to learn all the Yngwie parts, obviously, for the show, the very first show we did in Los Angeles. And he had his manager with him when we did the first show, and he was so nervous, he was shaking. And he was going to she's saying to him, a nice lady, I don't remember her name now, but he got hold of Steve and said, you're going to be all right, Steve. It's fine. You're going to be okay. And he said, and then he looked at me and he said, I don't play like Yngwie. Yeah, you can and you will, but you still play like Steve Vai. That's the thing. You play like Steve Vai as well as you can do that, And we went on stage and it was amazing. Steve was fantastic. And he never looked back after that. He was so good. He played all those parts that Yngwie put down perfectly, without fail. And then he did his own thing, And what an amazing guy to watch. He was incredible,
Yeah, another guitarist that you guys had that just went on to do some amazing stuff as well. Just a very outstanding guitar player. Obviously all his solo work and working with David Lee Roth. Just amazing stuff.
Yeah.
And I also read you guys also appeared on a BBC program called Rock School, where you were actually providing some singing tips during the show, which I thought was interesting, which was cool.
I remember that was in Ronnie Dio's rehearsal studio, and they filmed it that morning. I remember it was really early, and I thought, what can I do? So I thought I didn't want to really sing, like 10 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. And I did a little bit of tutoring, and I wasn't quite sure it was very good, but I was, so you got to breathe, you got to blah, 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 whatever I said. But it was, people said it was good. What the information I gave them, it was, useful in the vocal, other vocalists later. But I thought I did a crappy job myself. But anyway, it was okay. And it was fun to do.
Yeah, and then in 2015, you formed the Graham Bonnet Band and toured the UK and Europe, and you guys are still playing shows.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we're going out very soon. When are we going out, Bethany?
Not until May.
We're not going out until May. So we have a little bit of time. We're doing a new album right now. I'm in the middle of writing. words and melodies to the new songs we have. And it's going to be, it's going to take a while to do that, obviously. And we hope to have the album out like early next year, hopefully.
Very cool. Any plans or thoughts of any collaborations on any material with any previous bands or previous collaborators? You ever thought about doing any of that?
Well, we have one. We have one guest that I can talk about, and who's done his part already. That's Bruce Dickinson. He came in and did the last verse of one song that we made up. And I've got to do my part. I haven't done my part yet. I have the first part, then he has the last part with a chorus, a verse, a chorus, and an outro, you know. So he's done some ad-libs at the end, I think. I haven't heard it all yet. So I've got to do my bit, and I'm doing the first verse, the first chorus, and blah, 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 you know. So it's Bruce has offered his services, and he said to one of my friends who told me later, he said, you know, Bruce said to me, he never does things like this. He never, ever appears on somebody else's album. But he says he's doing it for you, Graham. And that's why I love him to death, because he's a great guy. I love him. I've known him for a long time. And he doesn't do sessions, but he did it for this band, you know. And I'm very, very happy about that, you know.
Yeah, definitely. He's done so many, different things. But yeah, he hasn't done session work, but just an outstanding vocalist. Definitely helped put Maiden on the map for sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So I just want to thank you so much for chatting with us today. I really appreciate your time. The new album, Lost in Hollywood Again, is out December 12th through Frontier Records. All right. So that wraps up this episode of Talk About Rock. Thanks to my guest today, Graham Bonnet. And to our listeners, we hope you're doing your part and keeping the torch alive and supporting live music wherever you are. Graham, again, thank you.
All right. Thanks, man.